Hey, what's going on, you guys? Listen, I want to talk a little bit about this thing going around with Stephen A. Smith, right? Where, of course, the black women, these so-called black women, are upset, talking about we should cancel Stephen A. Smith because of what he said when he spoke about Jasmine Crockett, the congresswoman who's out here. Just every time she gets on TV, she has to curse, use profanity, and all that. So Stephen A. Smith asked a legitimate question, and all of a sudden he's being disrespectful. He's being deemed as disrespectful, and now they're talking about canceling him. And also because he said or asked a question that they didn't like, all of a sudden now Stephen A. Smith has little D energy. You can't make this shit up, man. You mean to tell me by asking a question is disrespectful? And because he's disrespectful, he has little D energy. So let me ask you this question. Because he had, if he could validate that he has a big D, would y'all change our mind and say, okay, well, you're right? You see what I mean? I mean, does the size of a man's penis, what does that have to do with what he said? How does that validate or invalidate what he said? Right? So if he has a big penis, that means he could just say anything he want to say and that's going to be correct. But no, he has a little penis, so he can't be correct in nothing he says. Is that the game we're going to play? That's crazy. That's women logic. And a lot of men are falling prey to that same thing. A lot of men are the same talking points as these women, which I have no idea why. As a grown-ass man, how are you able to look at another grown man and say, hey, you got little dick energy, you disrespected Jasmine Crockett? But they're saying it. They are side by side with these women, saying that, Stephen A. Smith is disrespectful. Willie D, Roland Martin, who else? Right? You gotta question a lot of this. Like, what the hell is going on? Nobody even dug into what Stephen A. Smith said. They just said, oh, you're disrespectful. But if you go back, and Stephen A. Smith even showed the videos of Jasmine Crockett talking crazy, right? How can your verbiage get you where you want to go, on Capitol Hill? Is basically what he was asking, right? You got to come to negotiate. You're trying to get people to hear your side, your views, right? So how do you expect people to listen to your views if you are talking crazy? If you got this ghetto, persona, this ghetto girl attitude, right? You're talking this sister girl, this hood, in which Jasmine is not, because if you ever seen her talk, I've seen a couple of videos of her when she was in Dallas talking, before she became a congresswoman. This lady is, she basically sounded like the girl next door. Proper English, no hood rat attitude, no honey child, and the only hot thing about Governor Hot Wheels is he a hot ass mess or whatever. None of that. It was none of that, right? Very articulate, very mannered, respectful. But as soon as she gets up here, as a congresswoman, things seems to change. Things change. So, Stephen A. Smith is absolutely correct in what he asked her, right? He asked a good question. How you expect to get things done on Capitol Hill when you come in with this ghetto girl persona, with this slang, But black women took offense to that. Black women and these what you call soy boy black men took offense to that. Go figure, right? Go figure. And then, all these black women now trying to cancel Stephen A. Smith because they don't like what he said. It was not disrespectful. How can you ask that type of question when we all see and hear how Jasmine talks? By asking that question, how is that disrespectful? You know? How is it? I mean, but nobody can answer that question. How is it disrespectful? Oh, you're disrespecting this black woman. Don't you see she's educated and intelligent, and which nobody said she wasn't, right? Nobody said that Jasmine don't have credentials. Nobody said that she's not intelligent, she's not smart. Nobody said that. It's just that ghetto girl persona that she's been doing is not going to get her anywhere, right? You trying to negotiate, pass laws, do this, do that. You cannot come into a boardroom or anywhere, in any place of business or anywhere, with a bullying attitude and expect to get something done. It's not going to fly. If you want to try to negotiate something, even though you guys are on opposite sides of the table, your views are different, and you want somebody to consider your view, how do you think they're going to consider your view if you're coming in hot, if you're coming in with the ghetto attitude, right? Nobody's going to listen to you. You have to talk to people in a manner that's going to get them interested in what you're saying and what you're proposing. Nobody's going to listen to you if you're coming in hot like a bully, using ghetto verbiage and all that, right? Nobody's going to listen. You're not going to get anybody on your side. At least if you come in being respectful, talking, you know, like you have some sense, being respectful, then you might get somebody who doesn't agree with you. They just might listen. You know what I'm saying? They just might hear you out, and you might come to some type of an agreement. Go figure. You know what I'm saying? It's crazy how when things don't go their way, and when things don't, you know what I'm saying, people don't listen to them, they don't take a look at themselves and say, well, damn, I could have approached that differently. They don't do that. They just go in hot, talking crazy, talking loud, bullying, and then when things don't go their way, when people don't listen to them, they say it's that person's fault. They're being racial. They don't like or hear a woman being loud and strong and, you know, all that good shit. Whose fault is that? But then they go back and do the same thing again. They keep doing the same old thing and wonder why nobody wants to listen to them. So Stephen A. Smith asked a good question. Didn't mean that wasn't disrespectful. He didn't call out a name. He didn't say she wasn't educated. None of that. Just, hey, he just asked a question, simple question. How are you gonna get things done if you coming in hot? If you coming in with this ghetto slang, you know, with this sisterhood act? How do you plan on getting something done, right? But these good old black women who say they love black men, what do? Hey, let's cancel this brother. Cancel this brother over what he said because they didn't like it. How is that for sisterhood? How is that for women to say we love black men, but then they do some shit like that because they didn't like what he said? You don't, and that's fine. You don't have to like it. You don't have to like it. But as adults, as grown folk, you would think that you can see somebody else's side, right? And, like, you know, find the common sense in it and question it and say, well, he has a point. But nobody sees what Jasmine Crockett is doing as being too extra, right? Especially the 93%ers, these black women who all voted for Kamala. They don't see Jasmine as being extra, right? They see that as just normal. Like, yeah, that's fine. She can act like that. We need that in the White House. We need that on Capitol Hill. We need somebody with some zest, some feistiness, you know. We need that strong black woman sisterhood mentality. Really? Do y'all really need it? So now you're gonna have every young black girl out here who wants to get in politics walking around acting like Jasmine Crockett, thinking that's okay, thinking that's gonna fly. Y'all want a ghetto, a ghetto White House? Go be the Black House. Go be the Soul House. Shit, motherfucker like Soul Plane. Y'all gonna have the Soul House. Shit, man, this shit ain't gonna work. It's stupid. And then, on top of that, like I said, you got the brothers who co-signing this nonsense of these women, right? It never fails, though. It never fails. Whenever you have certain women who don't like, the rhetoric of certain men, when men say things that make sense, that are actually true, and then you got the women who want to counsel them, and they're all upset with the masculinity of men. Then you got the other men who, the betas, the noodlebacks, who come in, swoop down with the capes, who tries to shame you, you know what I mean, for being who you are, right? For you standing on your square asking a question, now you got the other men that's going to cape for these women, come in and try to shame you for for just telling the truth, right? For just bringing forth a clearer observation of what's going on. So now you're being shamed for that. This world is getting weak. The men are getting weak. A lot of these men are, let's just say they're acquiescing to these women, and they are, like I said, they're putting the battery in their back, and they're just going, hey, well, can't piss the missus off, so I gotta lean this way a little bit, because if I don't, then I might be sleeping on the couch in the house that I pay for. You know what I'm saying? The house is in your name, and you making the payments. You the man, you the provider, you the protector, but yeah, you gotta sleep on the couch because you didn't do as your old lady wanted you to do. Right? Make that make sense. But that's what happens. That's what happens, man. And like I said, for guys like Willie D, man, Willie, you gotta cut that shit out, bro. Damn. I mean, some stuff is just obvious. You have to ask yourself, why would Willie D, and Roland and, all these other guys will come out and try to, go at Stephen A over that. Now, I ain't saying you got to like Stephen A. Like I said, there's certain things about Stephen A that I don't agree with, but he's right in this. And what he had, what the question that he proposed, he said nothing wrong. And that's a problem I find with us and in the black community, is that if we don't like a certain individual, he can say nothing right. Everything he says is going to be wrong. If I don't like you and you say something that's actually right and makes sense, then because I don't like you, I have to go against you. And we do that so often. We always, biting off our nose to spite our face, right? You can not like him. You can disagree. But you gonna try to get the man canceled and go after him and shame him because he said something that was actually factual and true. He asked a good question. And the thing is, he asked a question that nobody wants to confront. Nobody wants to talk about that. We see it. Y'all see it. Y'all just don't want to talk about it. Y'all are too scared to talk about it. Y'all know there's no reason for Jasmine to be up there acting the way she acts. But when somebody like Stephen A asked that question, then we got to go after Stephen A. How dare he? How dare he? That is crazy. How dare he ask this? How dare he says this about Jasmine Crockett? How dare he disrespect this black queen? Y'all like giving yourself titles too. Self-proclaimed queens, self-proclaimed goddesses and princes and empresses. But, we got to stop with this because I don't like you. What you say is wrong. Because I don't agree with you, what you say is wrong. You know, it's too many feelings involved here. We always get wrapped up in our emotions, and we don't think about things logically. And you know, a lot of us, you make too many decisions based off your emotions. That's why a lot of people are in the positions they're in, because they made all their decisions based off their emotions. No logical thought. Didn't look it through. Didn't see, or like try to calculate. Well, if I do this, then this might happen. Or if I do this, then I'm looking at this. Right? It's like nobody looks into the future of things. They just do for now. I'm mad. I don't like him. So no. Then you make yourself look stupid in the long run, and then you got to come back with some more moving of the goal post, some more deflection, and you know, it's just it's tiresome. Let's just put it that way. It's tiresome, man. I was asking a question on my Facebook page, and motherfuckers won't answer the question. They just, you know, oh, you must be wearing, you got a MAGA hat at home. Motherfuckers, I asked the same question Stephen A. Smith asked, right? And nobody answered it. They just said, oh, you must have a MAGA hat at home. Oh, I knew you would come talking your bullshit. I said, yeah, I'm talking my bullshit, but answer my question. You know? Why is it that when you question, and Stephen A. Smith, he's not MAGA. Stephen A. Smith is a Democrat. He will let you know he's a Democrat, but he has questions. And he's just asking questions that anybody with common sense will be asking. Democrat or not Democrat or whatever, even if you are. Especially if you're a Democrat, you should be asking these questions. Right? But no, they don't give a fuck. They don't care that Stephen A. is a Democrat. He just shouldn't be talking about Jasmine. He shouldn't question Jasmine. How dare he? Right? How dare you question this woman? How dare you? And it's stupid that people who don't know your political, what side you lean on, they assume that if you ask a question like that, that you have to be MAGA. So I'm MAGA because I agree with Stephen in his assessment. I happen to think, well, hey, that's a good question, Stephen. Hey, you're right. That's a good question. So now I got MAGA hats running out through my house. I got MAGA hats hanging up in every room. Oh, that shit is crazy. That's great. I have to be MAGA now because, you know, hey, Steve, that's a good question, bro. Oh, you must be MAGA. Damn. But that's how we are as black people. We're not a monolith, but since you're black, you have to be liberal. You have to be a Democrat. You have to think how we think, or you're MAGA. But nobody answered my question. It's like that fucking question is like kryptonite. Nobody will answer it. Nobody on my Facebook page would answer that question. They deflected and moved the goalposts. Bruh, I'm like, y'all are crazy. Y'all motherfuckers are crazy. Nobody touched that question. They talked about everything but that question. Nobody wanted to answer. But accused me of being everything but what I am. Oh shit. And nobody even asked. That's the crazy part. They just assumed. Nobody asked what's my political affiliation, even though I've told them plenty of times. But they don't listen. They do not listen. But they assume that since I agree with Stephen that I have questions that I'm MAGA. And that's dangerous. How can, in previous, discussions, I've told them what my political affiliation is. It's like motherfuckers don't retain shit. They so emotionally drawn, you know what I'm saying? They get so wrapped up in their emotions, they don't even remember. Or they choose not to. Or it's like they don't even care. I mean, what's the, you know what I'm saying? It's like they don't ask, they assume, and when you do tell them, they don't even hear it. It doesn't register. That's what gets me. How are you gonna assume I'm something, and then when I tell you this is what my political affiliation is, you still don't hear it. You still assume that it's right. Oh, you conservative, you MAGA, you this, you that, you da. Motherfucker, I just told you what I was. So you just ain't hearing nothing I say. Shit is weird. This shit is weird. And for y'all who don't know, I am not left, I am not right. I ain't neither one of them. You know, I don't lean left, I don't lean right. I mean, my views, the way I see things is conservative. However, I'm not a conservative. So you see what I mean? But I'm also not Democrat. I don't, but like I said, my views on everything are more conservative though. But yeah, so I'm not a person that's gonna run up here and say, oh yeah, I'm Democrat. I don't run up and say, oh yeah, I'm conservative either. But my views on things are conservative. So, like I said, I don't believe that we should be out here teaching our kids you can be every color of the rainbow. You have the right as a 5-year-old to say, oh, I was born a male, but I identify with female. I don't believe in that. Nope. And when it comes to abortion, I believe that if you have an emergency medical situation, okay. If it was, you know, sexual assault, okay, hey, that's fine. But if you out here just thotting and bopping and opening your legs up to every dude, and you get pregnant, and now, hey, you got to deal with that. I mean, like I said, I don't believe in using, you know, AB as an abortion pill. You know what I'm saying? As a not an abortion pill, but as a, you know, contraceptive. You know what I'm saying? As birth control. You know, you got these women out here using that as a birth control. No, I don't believe in that. So, you know, like I said, I lean conservative in a lot of ways, especially with family. But hey, you just can't tell these motherfuckers nothing. You have to be Democrat because you black. Shit is weird. But you guys, y'all enjoy y'all Friday, man. I just wanted to talk about that because that shit with Stephen A had me rolling. I'm like, I can't believe that these people are this butthurt over what this guy said, in which he was not being defamatory, he was not being mean, nothing. He was just asking a question. So, y'all, enjoy y'all Friday, man. I will holler at y'all in the next one. Y'all be safe. Peace.